But Lord, just the last several weeks, almost at the very beginning of this month, whenever it was kind of around the time that Brother Kenny began to talk about this month of like fasting, it was around that same time that the Lord began to deal with me about intimacy and about a call to intimacy. And I really feel that there's been a call put forth to his people to draw near to intimacy. The Lord really began to deal with me about how out of intimacy can come life. And life, whenever two come together, they can bring forth life out of that intimacy. And so if you ever get in a position or a place where you feel dried, plucked up, by the root, just withered away almost, there's no life left in you, that it may be a time to draw closer to intimacy with God, and that life can be revived again in you. And so I just want to encourage you tonight to draw near to God, to listen to that call, because I do believe that it's going forth. And just like, when I was breaking free there from Brother Kenny, I feel like that's the way that we've almost got to seek him at times. It can't be something that's just done haphazardly, or it can't be done just, light. It's got to be something that's done, voraciously almost, or with a passion or a zeal. It's something that is serious. Taylor and I a couple times have sat down to do a little bit of a Bible study, and we were reading in Song of Solomon. And in Song of Solomon there, the wife, her husband's, gone away from her, and she's searching, in the streets, high and low. She's begging the watchman of the street, said, "Hey, have you seen my beloved? Have you seen that one that I love, that one that my soul loveth?" She said, "Oh, daughters of Jerusalem, I beg you," essentially is what she's saying, "have you seen my beloved?" And they're like, "What's so great about your beloved?" And she lists all these characteristics. They're like, "Hey, this is mine. This is him. That's how he is." And that should be our eye towards Christ so many times. That's my beloved. That's my one that my soul longs for, that I just can't get enough of. That's my one that I just have to have day in, day out. I can't get enough of him. I can't spend enough time with him. I can't feel his presence enough. I long for that intimacy with him. Amen. That ought to be the way that we are. In Matthew, it talks about our eye being single. And it says, if your eye be single, your whole body is full of light. But it says, if your eye is not single, you're full of darkness. And it says that light is darkness. I'd have to read, I'm doing a poor job at paraphrasing it, but it says that light is darkness. And that was one of the first times I ever caught reading that. And I just thought, oh, light and darkness. But it said that light is darkness, that you've almost deceived yourself, that, hey, I thought that was light, but it's darkness. But it all comes back to that singleness of eye, that we ought to just have an eye for just one. We ought to have an eye for just him and no others, that he ought to be our one, our true desire, that, above all else, he would be the one that we would desire. He would be the one that we seek after. The Lord even began to deal with me briefly even about idolatry and about spiritual harlotry, how we can put so many things above and before the Lord, things even at times not purposeful, not purposeful things that we, put in front of him, but just life, it gets in the way, things that we would pick up instead of him, things that we would just let slip in because of him. We've got to be constantly on guard for our soul. This isn't just, a game that we're playing tonight. And I know you guys know that, but I just felt such a seriousness about this intimacy. And it's such a beautiful thing, and it's such a wonderful thing. It's not something that, he's beating us over the head with. It's such a beautiful thing that we can go into intimacy with him. And so I just encourage you guys tonight to listen to that call of intimacy, because I believe it is going forth, and I believe he's trying to draw people nearer to him, and I believe there'll be a resurrection out of it and a resurgence of life. Amen.